Welcome to the Owatonna Today Show, your community connection since 1991. I'm Linda Karnauskas, and I want to thank you for joining us on this Wednesday, August 3rd. We have an informative show for you today. First, we'll be visiting with our very own Mayor Tom Kuntz for the City of Owatonna, and we'll get an update there. And then later on in our program, we're going to be visiting with Missy Ahrens and Amanda Gislason, and they're on the project for an all-inclusive playground here in Owatonna, so you're going to learn all about that. Owatonna Today Show welcomes comments and suggestions from our guests on show topics and guests. You can do so by emailing us at owatonnatoday@charter.net or by contacting our show's producer, Leanne T at 390-5751. We will take a short break to hear a word from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back with Mayor Tom Kuntz, so please stay with us.
Hi, I'm Jody Voisin with the staff at Fairview Animal Medical Center, your other family doctor. Fairview Animal Medical Center is a proud supporter of the Owatonna Today Show.
Recreational fires are allowed within the Owatonna city limits. They must be contained within a fire pit or a device designed for such use, and can be 3 feet in diameter and no more than 3 feet high. They must be 25 feet from a building or combustibles. Only untreated or unpainted woods must be used. Fires must be attended by a person at all times that are capable of extinguishing the fire. This has been a safety tip from the Owatonna Fire Department.
Hi, I'm Betsy Linger from the Owatonna Foundation. Your generosity has made Owatonna a better place to live by benefiting our community, the arts, recreation, and education. Please consider a donation today. The Owatonna Foundation is a proud sponsor of the Owatonna Today Show.
Welcome back to the Owatonna Today Show, your community connection. We're here visiting with Mayor Tom Kuntz of the City of Owatonna. Welcome, Mayor.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be on.
Well, and we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. I don't think people realize just how busy you are.
It sometimes comes in a lot, and sometimes it's not so bad. So yes, you bet.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your little trip? You'd come back from Washington State, I understand?
I was privileged to go out to Tri-Cities in Washington State. And what that was about is I am on the board of directors for American Public Power and the Public Policy Committee. And out in Washington State, they get together and invite legislators, senators, and representatives from different states. We had them from Idaho and Washington, California, and that area. We had one from Illinois. And these representatives are really the policymakers that make policies at the state level. In order to help them understand the policies that they're making and get a little bit better background. It was a 4-day course, and it was on, first part of it was on electricity, and it went from basic electricity, how it's generated, how it's made, how it started, how it's get into the grid system, and then once it's into the grid system, how does it get handled in the grid system and know where to go. So it was all about that. And then it was about natural gas too. And it was very interesting. It went from wellhead and fracking and how they do the fracking underground to the pipelines and how the distribution and the pipelines work. And then they had a section on energy conservation, how windmills play into the program, how solar radiation plays into the program. And then when you have hydro and nuclear and coal and solar and wind, how does the grid system handle all that so it doesn't go out or everybody's always got power when they need power? So it was very, very intense and very interesting. So it'll help me bring back to our local utilities a basic understanding of electric and gas, and it'll help me when I go up to the state legislature and legislate on very important issues for Minnesota.
And it helps you be the mayor you want to be and learning all these things, keeping us abreast of what's coming up. You never know what will be presented to a city.
Yeah, exactly.
And the land around it. You never know.
We've got carbon and we've got solar that's going in. We've got wind that's part of our mix. So it's all helps to be better knowledgeable of that.
Well, we just thank you for being so conscientious and wanting to build your knowledge and to help manage our town and keep us in the know.
And just for the folks out there, it wasn't paid for by the city, it wasn't paid for by our local utilities, it was paid for by American Public Power. So,
well, we appreciate you going and bringing all that knowledge back.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Now on to Owatonna.
Owatonna, yes.
What do you have on your list for us today that you want our viewers to be updated on?
On July 5th, I think that was the shortest council meeting that I've ever seen. I think it was 9.5 minutes. And that was from the oath of offices to the Pledge of Allegiance until we got out of there, so 9.5 minutes. And one of the two things that were on that agenda was that if City Council or the mayor are going to get a raise or approve a raise, or it goes on the ballot and gets a raise approved or whatever, that raise cannot be put in place until the next election. So I'm not sure if everybody was aware of that or not, but we can't vote today and get a raise tomorrow. It goes to the next election. And there is no indication that anything's going for city councils or mayors for pay increases. We've had one, I think, about 3 or 4 years ago, and nobody's been talking about that. But they wanted to clarify that issue on the charter. The other thing is we've been buying a few houses. A couple of them are for economic development, and some of them are for the floodplain. And at that meeting, we bought one at 122 East Pearl Street.
Okay. My question on the shortest council meeting, how many calls did you get on people thinking that their televisions were cut off or whatever?
Well, I didn't receive any, but some of them might have.
They probably got up and go, wait a minute, what happened to my broadcast?
You got it, yes.
And what else do you have going on in the city here?
Then on the next one, on July 19th, I'm sorry, we had our attorney come in for Charter Communication. Charter Communication has been our cable provider in the City of Owatonna probably for the last 30 years. And in their franchise agreement, they had a no compete clause. And we wanted to get rid of that no compete clause because we have now got Jaguar Communication that is also providing the same service, but they're providing with fiber optics to the house. So some places in town you have a choice of now Charter, or you have a choice of Jaguar to provide your cable service, to provide your internet service, and to provide your phone service. We had to get the contract changed with Charter in order to do that. And there was a couple of things in the contract that took some time to really negotiate out. And one of those is that when Charter ended their contract and now signed a new one, we are now going to be responsible for providing that link to the television show. So far, Leanne has been so kind as to come in and copy our council meetings. And in the future, that is going to be part of the responsibility of the City of Owatonna. In order to do that, it takes about $80,000 or $90,000 worth of equipment in order to buy for the city, so we have the capabilities of doing that. And that was one of the hang-ups in that negotiation process is how is Charter going to collect that $80,000 to give to the city in order to buy that equipment in the future. So they got that resolved, and I think we just signed the last agreement on Tuesday night, and we now have 2 cable providers that are in our charter for the City of Owatonna.
How is the Jaguar? Are they completely everywhere in the city now? Or?
They have not completed everywhere. They started on the northwest end of town, and they're working their way around. They've got to do so many sections. And I called the other day because I live in the southeast side of town, and I called and said, when do you think you might be in that area? Oh, 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So it's taken some time for them to plow in the cable and everything. What they're also doing is that they're plowing in extra conduit for the utility company, so the utility company can take all those lines that are in your backyard that are overhead and start putting them underground and get rid of the overhead lines.
Those are, makes a great big difference when those lines are underground.
Makes a great big difference.
Aesthetically to a neighborhood, it's just a beautiful thing.
And it's a reliability issue. You know that every time the wind blows, there's trees. We do a great tree trimming program, but you still have issues that can cause problems when the overhead lines. So,
what areas is Jaguar in now?
I believe they're up still in the north end of town. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So working their way around.
Working their way around, you
Okay.
betcha. Yeah.
Now, what do you have for us in the way of, you wanted to mention some sewer work being done down around the bowling alley and whatnot?
Yeah, there's quite a few projects going on around town. But the main one that probably you notice is that when you drive along 14, you see these humongous pipes that are being buried. And that is going to come all the way up towards the bowling alley. And those big sewer catch basins are going to be put in. It'll help take care of the water that comes off the fairgrounds. And if it rains heavy, when you drive by the bowling alley, you always drive into water. It could be up to the running boards of your cars. This project will take care of the flooding that's in the southeast side of town. Okay. Back when we had our floods back in 2010, 9 or 10 or whatever it was, they were listing out several projects in order to improve the flood areas. This is one of those towards the very end that's getting done.
Now, since the 100-year flood in 2010, where do we stand in that southeast end of town? Are we in good shape?
We every time it's rained, I don't know if we've had the rains that we've had when we had the floods that time, but everything seems to be handled well. I think the design was very, very good. And Bexler Park, if you go by there when it really, really rains, it fills up with water on both sides of that holding pond, and it seems to hold it all, and I haven't really had a lot of problems. So.
And it's been quite a rainy summer in recent memory, as far as I'm concerned. I don't have any stats to prove that, but would you know anything about the rainfall?
My friend of mine, my neighbor, keeps taking that, and so yeah, we've had quite a bit of rain. The nice thing about it is that here we're starting August, and we've still got green grass.
I know.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I said yesterday. It was we turned in on the street. I said normally we're turning in and it's brownish, and it's
still have green grass.
Green. Well, great.
A couple other things. It's kind of interesting. The stoplight out on 26th Street now on County Road 45 is up and operating. I know you asked, is that how it's going to stay in the future? And that's how it'll stay for now. They wanted to control that because you get off of the industrial park at 3 o'clock and there's so much traffic. You got so much traffic coming out of the clinic and everything. And there was never a right turn lane coming back into town on County Road 45. So that's one of the things they wanted to do, is put that right turn lane in and put that stoplight up. So that is up and working now, and I think it'll be a great improvement into the future.
And the way it hangs on the cables and all that, the reason there's not a more permanent structure, would that be in case we have to change the dynamics of that intersection?
They are looking at the bridge that goes across the river. They're also looking at discussions into the future of putting a road over that railroad track and river. And so that's why they didn't want to make any permanent modifications to that intersection, because of design going into the future.
Now,
last thing I can talk about, when you drive into town and you come in on Bridge Street or Oak Street or whatever, sometimes it's pretty unsightly when you get all these weeds growing up along the sidewalk, between the curb and the sidewalk. We had a group of people go in on Bridge Street and Oak Street, and we'd whip them and clean them up. We always try to do that before the fair, because it is kind of an unsightly mess when you drive into town. Even downtown, we've had people call about downtown. I just encourage residents, if there's a boulevard or sidewalk in front of your house, please take care of the weeds in front of the house. It just makes it look so much nicer. Mm-hmm.
It does take a village. We all have to have pride in our community.
Exactly. You got it. Yes.
Sometimes it's a little effort, even past paying our taxes and being involved, right?
Yep, exactly.
So is there anything else you'd like to add about the city?
I hope everybody had a great time on National Night Out. It's always nice when the police officers and fire department can make it to those block parties and everything. So I hope everybody had a great time.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you very much.
We will take a short break to hear a word from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back to hear all about the all-inclusive playground. So please stay with us.
Hi, I'm Jean Newkirk, personal banker here at Bremer Bank. Come see me today for our current retail loan specials and any of your banking needs.
And I'm Ryan Gillespie, mortgage loan officer here at Bremer Bank in Owatonna, and I'm happy to help you with all of your home loan needs. Come see us today.
I didn't just want another job, I wanted a career, so I expressed myself.
I was new to town and I didn't know where to turn for a job, so I decided to express myself.
I decided to express myself, and they helped find the right career for me.
Express Employment Professionals is in contact with thousands of companies in need of quality employees. Come in now and get the job you deserve.
Express yourself today.
I'm Bill Owens with the Owatonna Business Incubator. Whether your business is just starting out or is expanding, we have the office space and manufacturing space that you need. As the Small Business Counseling Center for this region, we are able to help you in your expansion or your startup of your business. We are a proud sponsor of the Owatonna Today Show.
Hi, I'm Tim Anderson, the owner of Anytime Fitness, where we make getting healthy affordable and convenient. Anytime Fitness is a proud sponsor of the Owatonna Today Show.
Owatonna Public Utilities, real people, real reliable, real progress. Making life a little easier day after day, taking pride in our community, listening to what you say, a voice you can talk to. We're growing with you in mind in everything we do. Owatonna Public Utilities.
Welcome back to the Owatonna Today Show, your community connection. And we're here visiting with Amanda Gislason and Missy Ahrens, and they're here to discuss all about the project of the all-inclusive playground. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
And I just want to say thank you for taking this project and developing it. And it is in the beginning developing stages. But before we get there, I would like to share a little bit about each of you, if you would share, and how you came about getting involved in this project. So Amanda,
sure.
Would you start?
My husband and I, we have a little boy with Down syndrome. He's 7. His name is Gunnar. And we had been to a couple of inclusive playgrounds around the country and just got to thinking, we don't have anything like this in Owatonna. How can we have this in our community? Because it's such a great place for our child to be able to play. We don't have to worry about him getting hurt. He can play on everything. He can play with his friends who don't have disabilities. It's just an awesome feeling as a parent for your child to be able to do that. And so just what can we do to get this here? Because it'd be really awesome. And so I contacted the Park and Rec Department and Tim, and we started discussing. And then I started talking to Missy, and she can tell you how she got started.
Oh, okay. Missy, share a little bit about how you got.
My husband and I have 3 children, a 9-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And our 8-year-old daughter, Miley, has Down syndrome as well. Mm-hmm. And so we actually ourselves had been talking about a miracle field. And so we had been talking with Tim about how to get that into town. And he mentioned that Amanda had approached him about doing an inclusive playground. And so, just knowing that, and then we got the email saying, okay, we're moving forward with it. Do you want to be a part of the committee to try to get this up and running in Owatonna? So,
and part about disability, having disabilities, it's a lot about the can-dos. Mm-hmm. You have to focus on the can-dos. Mm-hmm. And so with this park, what would it afford people with disabilities? What did you learn about the park that are the benefits?
Mm-hmm. Part of the challenge having an able-bodied child and a child with disabilities is having them play side by side together. There's a lot of things that our son was able to do growing up, and there's 13 months between the two. So things that normal sibling, interaction that would occur, they weren't able to do, and my daughter wanted to, but physically she just wasn't able to on some of the playgrounds that we have in town. So it would allow them to, play together and interact together.
Now, all-inclusive just doesn't mean disabilities, correct, Amanda?
Correct, that is correct. It is all-inclusive, so it would include people of all abilities, and we want to make that really clear. Obviously, we're 2 parents who have a child with Down syndrome, but there are many other parents on our committee who have children with disabilities or not disabilities. It would also be for parents who have a disability to be able to play with their child on a playground, for grandparents to play with their child on the playground. I think one of the coolest parts of the inclusive playground is the poured in place, which is like a rubber mat that covers the entire surface of the ground, which allows for kids to crawl on it. It allows for wheelchairs to have access to all the pieces of equipment. And it's a very super soft landing for children who might fall off of equipment.
Well, not only for the disability aspect, for the all-inclusive aspect, baby boomers were all aging, and things happen like orthopedic knees and bad backs and range of motion issues. This sounds like to me it would afford the experience of a grandparent to be able to take more than one grandchild to a park and feel like they could interact together.
Right.
Yep.
So it would be for anyone to interact with anyone, but that it also permits those with disabilities to function better and keep them within the, it would allow them to stay within the scope of their ability. Is that correct?
Right.
So they could have accomplishments. What are some of these, what does some of this equipment and things look like? Could you show us on the...
We're kind of in the beginning stages of designing our playground. We have a design. We don't have any of the 3D renderings yet, but it's kind of difficult to explain to people what the difference is, but to be able to show people pictures such as this piece of equipment right here is a zip line. And so it's actually two zip lines parallel with each other, one where a child can stand and do the zip line, and then one where a child or an adult could actually fit into this chair and be buckled in and do the zip line right alongside of an able-bodied person.
Awesome. So that's a natural grade. You just sit in there.
Yep. It just goes.
There might be a line.
Oh yeah,
They said that's their.
That looks awesome. Okay.
This down here, I'm not exactly sure what that one was called, but it's like a big disc that you could lay on, and it's basically a big swing. So more than one person can lay on that swing and play on that. I know that's one of my son's favorites to lounge on.
And you could look up at the sky and look for pictures in the sky and the clouds and all that. Wow. And then what would any of this be true to what you're looking for?
Some of the pieces that they have shown here may or may not appear in our park. We're still trying to decide, what that's going to look like based on where we have it. But this right here is kind of like a seesaw.
Okay.
There's other things, but basically all the equipment is made so that anybody can access it.
It looks very secure. So if anybody has balance issues or whatever, they would be supported well.
Right, and this is an actual park in Minnesota. It's called King Park up in Lakeville. This isn't exactly what our park's going to look like, but it's a great example of the potential that we have here.
Now, where are some of the parks that you're looking at? I know nothing's been decided yet, but what are some of the sites that you're considering?
Well, initially, we had looked at Morehouse Park, just given the age of the equipment there, and that kind of being an obvious park that needs updating. But there were some challenges with noise from the train coming by and all the water surrounding it.
Right.
And so we took a step back saying, well, where else could we go? And Darts Park came into the conversation. There's still water there, but the placement of the playground is far enough away from the water where we felt a little bit more comfortable. However, there's some parking concerns there. So we're also looking into the possibility of building up by the water park.
Okay.
So
how would someone, in other words, if they want to get involved and they want to be a part of things in the committee and help maybe with land ideas, whatever, we'll get to that later on with contact information. But let's talk about, you have these locations in mind. It's going to take quite a bit of funds. And what is the bottom line at this time you think you'll need to get this to get this built?
As far as funds, right now we're looking at about $800,000 for the inclusive playground and the miracle field together.
Okay. Now, is that just the equipment, or are you looking at, would that be also
that would
land?
That would be everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when it comes time to build, because you will get there, we hope, and it comes time to build, how are you going to do that? Are you going to have a community call out, so to speak?
Yep, that's one of the really cool things I think we've heard from the company that we're working with is they do community builds, and to me it just sounds like a great way to get the community out and hey, let's build a playground together. And
then there's going to be a fundraiser coming up that's going to start helping put some money in that budget for this build, and that's going to be the shifting gears. And do you know anything about this?
I do. My husband and I actually started the Shifting Gears bike ride, and it is on Saturday, this Saturday, August 6th, down at Lake Colmeyer. It starts at 8 o'clock. There's a 21-mile bike ride, and then there's a family bike ride that starts at 8:30, where we encourage families to come with tag-alongs and bike trailers and whatnot. So people are still absolutely invited to come the morning of.
Okay, and if they want to contact you and become a volunteer, Amanda Gislason and Missy Ahrens, and your contact information is on the screen, I believe, so they can contact you. Will you have a website up and running at all?
As soon as we get our marketing materials together, there will be a website. They can also contact Tim Trulson.
Okay, so let's help them build the playground. We will take a short break to hear a word from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back, so please stay with us.
Hi, I'm Rich from Sign Pro and Auto Trim Design, a proud sponsor of the Owatonna Today Show. Come and see us for all your sign and truck accessory needs.
Welcome back to the Owatonna Today Show, your community connection. It's that time of day when we share with you what's going on in our community. Anyone wishing to apply for work at one of the Steele County free fare vendors should stop into the fair office and register your name. Vendors will contact you directly. The Steele County Historical Society is pleased to announce the History Detectives Children's Programming for Thursday, August 4th at 9 a.m. and at 6:30 p.m. The topic will be A Day in the Life, Professions from 1900, focused in the Museum of Professions in the Village of Yesteryear at 1448 Austin Road, Owatonna. Habitat for Humanity of Steele-Watseka area will break ground on the organization's 24th home on Saturday, August 6th at 10 a.m. The ceremony will take place at the site of the family's new home, 603 Glendale Street in Owatonna. There is a rescheduled date due to a rain cancellation in late July. Habitat for Humanity invites anyone interested in volunteering with the organization to email volunteer@habitatswa.org or call the office at 507-446-0112 to get started. The Owatonna Arts Center will open an exhibition of paintings by Kevin Erke on Sunday, August 7th. There will be a reception for the Erke on Sunday, August 14th from 1 to 5 p.m. The public is invited to meet the artist, view his work, and have a We invite you to join us on Friday when our guest will be Sheriff Leanne T, and we'll be at the Owatonna Arts Center on location looking at their new mural. Until then, have a wonderful day, and we will see you on Friday.